Jack, you mentioned players being used to contact. I'll just reiterate, Jordan, because you were gone. I don't know if you heard what I said. The one thing I don't like is people questioning, what are you doing in practice? Are you beating guys down? Are you going too hard? Man, no disrespect to any ballet dancers out there, because you folks in that profession do have, the toughest feet on the planet, I believe. It ain't ballet. I mean, you need to get calloused up before the season to an extent, and stuff is going to happen. But it's just one of those really unfortunate things that they're having to work through right now. I believe Doza might have mentioned it, what the depth chart looks like. It's right now. It's Jaydon Blue, Trey Wisner, Jarrett Gibson. Got Darren Gillette getting some run there. Chip reported this morning Ryan Niblett, getting him a look there is an option. Colin Page, which I didn't realize, Jordan, in what district was Anderson? And I think that would have been 11-5 AD1, maybe. He was the offensive MVP of the district, had 1,700 yards as a senior, averaged over 8 yards a carry. I was just looking at some. I couldn't tell you. Let me pull up his profile real quick. But I was looking at that last night.
Are we about to become real sickos and watch Colin Page's week 2 junior year highlights? Let's see.
Colin Page would have been, his senior year at Anderson would have been 2021. He was the 11-5 AD1 co-offensive MVP, 10 games because Anderson didn't make the playoffs, 1,700 yards, 8.5 yards per carry, 22 touchdowns, 47 catches, 920 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Dude, did Anderson have anybody else on offense other than Colin Page, or was it just like, hey, just get him the ball every play?
No, they had this monster named Ed Small. And they were just like, hey, y'all are going to play ping pong with the ball. And that's how
right.
it worked.
Ed would have been there at that point. Yeah.
Maybe Colin Page walked so Ed Small could run.
Thank you for that. Can we get that put on a throw pillow and sell them on our
website? Ran track and played basketball according to his NCSA profile. I mean, the NCSA stuff, for those of you who are trying to get your kids recruited, NCSA, I think, does work to some degree. But at the end of the day, too, you got to have the measurables and, testing times. Yeah, I don't think Colin Page had that, but, I don't know. We'll see. Will he turn into something?
I don't know. I mean, there have been worse options. So, we know the Darian Gillette thing because that guy, Chip reported that on Saturday, and we talked about that yesterday. The Ryan Niblett thing, I think, Jordan, people might be getting it twisted. It's not like they're planning to put Ryan Niblett back there and give him like 10 carries between the tackles during games. We've seen some of the stuff Sark has done with some of his two-back sets, whether they're in 20 personnel or 21 personnel. I don't know if you remember, but I want to say it was a play in the Washington Alamo Bowl where they lined up Casey Kane in the backfield, didn't motion him out, just sent him out like on a little flare or a swing route, and he caught a ball and ripped off a pretty nice run. So there are different things you can do with receivers. Plus, for a guy like Ryan Niblett, that wide receiver room is going to have a lot of turnover after this year. If let's assume all those guys get done what they want to get done. Like Silas Bolden's gone after this year. He's out of eligibility. So, this is one and done for Silas Bolden. But let's say that Matt Golden and Isaiah Bond do what they want to do. Like they have goals. They get the NFL feedback that they want from their 1 year at Texas. If they go pro, you're going to lose 3 really good receivers for the second year in a row. This could be a nice way of keeping a guy like Ryan Niblett invested, saying, hey, we're going to move you here right now. We're going to make you a different part of the offense, but you got a very good chance of moving back to receiver next year and being a really big part of this thing with Ryan Wingo and Jonte Cook in a draft-eligible year and DeAndre Moore in a draft-eligible year. So I don't know. I think that's just one way of looking at it. But I don't think anybody should get it twisted. You're not going to turn Ryan Niblett into Deontay Foreman. That's not the goal here.
This ain't the off season in Dynasty where you can just position switch people.
Back in the day when I would put like Derek Johnson at fullback just to get him a couple touchdowns to pad his Heisman resume.
Yeah, hey, you should have gave me that idea back when I still had Darian coming off the edge. But hey, good morning, everyone. I want to say that too.
Yes,
But
CB,
good morning,
Jake,
everyone.
Longhorn Bear, everybody. Jake,
Yep.
Jose, Antoine.
Sorry, I'm looking at. Damn, is this true? Jahmyr Gibbs did get injured as well. Kind of interesting. And yeah, the as far as I know, I haven't been able to 1000% confirm this, but Christian Clark, it was non-contact. Like I haven't gone and directly hit up anyone yet about Christian Clark's injury, but tea leaves seem as if it was non-contact, and
which is never good.
Yeah, and for Ryan Niblett, look, I think Ryan Niblett could maybe do something if they were to switch him to running back. I will say though, like he's got to be a guy you scheme plays specifically for, like exactly like how Keelan Robinson was. You could say Keelan Robinson was kind of a gadget back, a gadget player. That's what Ryan Niblett would be doing. Like Ryan Niblett went 10.52 in high school or 10.46, something like that. He's is up there with Bond and the other guys on the roster for best track profile in high school. Mm-hmm. So is he fast? Hell yeah, he's fast. But fast doesn't save you when you got to meet a Harold Perkins in the hole or something like that. So you got to scheme plays for them to get the ball outside. Jailbreak screens, whoop-de-woo, use them on an orbit route. I love that play Sark would use with Keelan Robinson on an orbit route where he motioned him in and then he'd orbit out. If you have receivers who can block and you don't got Xavier Worthy out there, like that's a productive play about 9 times out of 10, it seemed like. So
X catching strays for that TCU game still. TCU game that they won, by the way.
I'm not gonna forget the Xavier Worthy blocking stuff until Sark makes Silas Bolden block someone.
Hey, Silas seems like a dude that'll stick his face in there and try to move somebody though.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy was like, "Oh, I'm blocking. I ain't coming off the line. I'm walking off the line on this." I think Bolden will apply more effort.
I'm not gonna say X made a business decision, but I think to the point of contact, X might have made a business decision at the last minute. I'm sure the one person who really didn't appreciate it, other than Sark and Chris Jackson being pissed, I'm sure Jonte Cook still hasn't forgiven X. At least I wouldn't if my ass got lit up like that. But no, you're right about the Keelan Robinson stuff. The other thing that I like too that you talked about, you've got the orb motion, but one of Sark, it's a staple play in Sark's offense, and they'll run it out of different formations. They'll run it with different personnel. That rail that they ran, he used to run all the time with Bijan. Ran it. We've seen variations of it. Like there's times where it's more of a rail, or it's more of a kind of a take a curve and go straight up the field. And then there's times where it looks like a wheel where he's really getting up the sideline. And we saw Bijan score on that a couple times. Saw Jonathan Brooks do a little bit of that. Jonathan Brooks was a really good screen running back though. But I think that's part of it too, Jordan, is how do you maximize what you've got? I think that's up to Sark and Tashard Choice to figure out, all right, Jaydon Blue's a really good screen game back. Like he can do other things, but we're going to make him the focal point of our screen game. Kind of our down the field passing for the running backs, your angle routes, like I said, your rails, your wheels. That's going to be more kind of Ryan Niblett, Trey Wisner. Like you can do, and your short yardage stuff. It'll be, I would imagine at this point, Darian Gallett's probably going to be a big part of that. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but CB mentioned Savion Red, and I'll go ahead and throw my crazy theory out there that I think is crazy enough to work. Man, I would put in Sark's going to have a Wildcat package. Like I said, he didn't really start using it. He used it a little bit, but when he got to Texas with Roschon, why not use it? Because Roschon was really good at it. Savion Red, not as efficient as Roschon. Man, I would try and practice or a scrimmage. I would just put Juan Davis back there and give him a Wildcat package and just see what it looks like. Worst case scenario, you waste a practice period and shut it down. But maybe that's something. I don't know. I mean, you could have, there are worse ideas than putting a 235-pound tight end who played quarterback in high school as your Wildcat quarterback.
Yeah. Wow, it's doing this weird hashtag. It's weird. Sorry. Yeah, Juan Davis, if they're going to shift another person into the running back room, and it isn't Ryan Niblett, I think Juan Davis is, the best bet.
And I'm not even saying shift him there. I'm just saying just have a
package
and get those guys at that position. Like I said, not even necessarily move them to the room. Just get them familiar enough to have a package of, if Ryan Niblett shouldn't, a package of 5 plays. Juan Davis should have a wildcat package with, hey, you've got your little counter action, your power O, something like that. You got like a lead, and then or maybe a read off of that, maybe an RPO off of that. Like, just, you're talking about like 4 or 5 things. You're not saying Juan Davis needs to go digest the whole offense, but it's to me, that's how I interpret when Sark talks about getting creative. I think that's the kind of stuff we need to start thinking about is, all right, what kind of package, what could a Ryan Niblett running back package look like? What could a Juan Davis Wildcat package look like? I don't even know if it's a Darian Gillette package, because I would imagine he's going to be in on mostly short yardage stuff, or maybe you do have a package for Darian Gillette. And I don't know, Jordan, maybe you could sell him on, because with the way Leungala apparently played in a scrimmage on Saturday and the way he's starting to kind of figure it out, knock on wood, I don't know that you need Darian Gillette at linebacker this year, but he should already know it well enough to maybe you can just full on move him to the running back room, period. And just say, hey, you're going to be a running back this year. For teams and stuff like that, you can still be, whatever you want him on, punt coverage, whatever. He can still do all that. That doesn't change, but you're just changing what position he's playing for this year.
Yeah, and with Darian Gillette, I think people are forgetting he ran 22.63 in the 200 at like 6'2", 220, 230 in junior year of his track season. That same track season, he also ran the anchor leg in 5 out of 6 meets in the 4x1 for Marlin, and ran the anchor leg in the 4x2 in 4 out of 5 meets in the 4x2. He also threw the shot put 53.675 and long jump 22.85.
Damn.
Yeah. And again, at like 6'2", 6'3", 220, 230-ish.
The 53-foot shot put might have been the most impressive thing you just rattled off. That combined with the 22-foot long jump.
And his 2 other shot put throws are 45.65, 46.7, and those are all from April or May of 2022, which would have been his junior year.
So he uncorked one then if he went from like 47, 46 to 53. He freaking just
and he has 2 discuses over his sophomore year that were over the 100-foot.
That's threshold. An explosive. That's for those throws and that jump. That's one hell of an explosive athlete at that size.
Yeah, shot put is that's the most common thing. That's the most common track measurement event that's used, with evaluating offensive linemen. And the threshold you almost always want is 50 foot. Can they throw a shot put 50 foot, right? Mm-hmm. And if they can get it over that and even go higher, 55, 60, then you're really talking. Yeah. For example, this isn't going to be the full story because there's obviously stuff that was talked about that wasn't passed on to me. But for a long time, 24/7 Sports, the scouting team had Michael Fasusi as the number 1 offensive tackle in the state of Texas over Ty Haywood and Lamont Rogers. Showed up to Under Armour. It was clear it was Fasusi versus Haywood. We like Lamont Rogers a lot, but he's probably a tier below Fasusi and Haywood.
Yeah,
both Fasusi and Haywood have pretty much identical testing stuff. It's really close. Fasusi's slightly better. However, our scouting team likes Haywood's tape slightly more. Mm-hmm. And then what did Haywood do about a week after Under Armour Dallas? He showed up to a track meet and threw a shot put like 59.5 feet with the worst technique you've ever seen. Right? So after that, Fasusi, I believe his PR is 52 or 48 in the shot. He's only thrown it a handful of times. I think Ty Haywood actually has more throws under his belt than Fasusi does. But that was the main reason for rising Ty Haywood up and making him the number 1. Yes, they're pretty much identical. We like his film better, and he can throw, rock far. So
yeah. Well, this is that same Decorium Moore versus Khalil Lockett discussion that we had. Yeah. Like when you're deciding between the number 1 and number 2 prospects nationally at a position, Like it's that you're splitting hairs that much.
Yeah. Yeah, and with Gillette, I mean, he had great track stuff out of high school. Probably could have finished ranked higher, but didn't have that senior year that was really important. One thing I think is interesting, I don't think we even brought his name up when we were kind of spitballing names last week or yesterday. Jelani McDonald. You know, I honestly wouldn't hate that. He's put on more weight to his frame since he got to campus, obviously. So I'm not quite sure if he's as explosive. But I pulled up Jelani McDonald's high school track numbers just for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
He high jumped 6'6" as a senior, and long jump or as a junior. This was a senior year because he was a late enrollee. He did senior track, but he did 6'6" in the high jump as a senior. Long jump 21.4. Oh wait, no, those aren't even. His long jump PR is 22.275. Triple jump 48.2. So pretty explosive. Didn't have open times though, only grand relays and the jumps, but he's explosive. I remember his high school tape. It was kind of similar to Aaron Butler's. Not that they play similar positions, but that they just look pissed off with the ball in their hands and they're going to seek out contact and will want to embarrass you. So
yeah, I think go ahead.
I just was going to say I wouldn't mind seeing Jelani get maybe a look. I doubt it happens though.
Yeah,
it gives Sadir carries.
That would have to be a package thing because I think he's too valuable for you at safety right now because he's in the mix, right? He's gotten some run with the ones. I just think he's too valuable at this point.